2 minutes. 2 minutes. Goodness. There I am. Good afternoon, one and all. Folks, we're live on the radio. 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yes. Noon Report Live. Folks, real news. You deserve it. No filter. Last time I checked, you're adults. Excuse me. Should be good to go. All right, we're waiting for JR. Oh, he is. Attorney Tim Dodd, next hour. Attorney Dodd. The guy is the best. By the way, you could hire him to be your attorney. I certainly wouldn't go with anyone else. One minute, one and all. Yes. At 12:06 on this, well, it's a cloudy Thursday. Not the best week, but, not bad. Very much spring weather, without question. Definitely spring weather. Good afternoon, one and all. It is Juan. Excuse me. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. You can always listen online at our website, depetro.com. This is the Noon Report. And I want to welcome everybody tuning in, and it just keeps getting bigger. Stand back. Who knows how big this thing is going to get? With the Facebook page, of course, where we continue to just get larger. And then also our growth on YouTube is tremendous. And we have room to grow on YouTube. And I know I'm hearing from a lot of people on YouTube, but we are responding to it. Also, obviously, on Spotify, it continues to grow as well, wherever you get your podcast. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. They're off to a banging season, incredible season already. Pansy flats, pansy bags, hangers and bowls. We've had some rain this week. I noticed that everybody's grass, right, because of the little bit of rain starting to come in. They have a beautiful selection on hydrangeas. Colors available, both blue and pink. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, where they also have tropical hibiscus mandevilla plants. Folks, they are open 7 days a week. Look for them on Facebook. Locally owned, family-run business. Steve, Debbie, Junior, Byron, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Look for them on Facebook. They're right off of Route 4. But stop in. They are big supporters of the Chosen One. So if you're thinking, I would like some things for my gardens. They also have great gifts. They have unique items. The service is tremendous. The quality is excellent. And they are just a joy to deal with. Screen, loom, black, brown, hemlock, mulch. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. You want to talk about working it, grinding it, local business. Their next day off is Christmas Day. I kid you not. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, folks, I highly encourage you to visit the website, depetro.com. Because for whatever reason, the rest of the media, or what's left of it, is not giving you the full story on Officer Lugo, who is back with the Providence Police. He's going to have to fulfill a 10-day suspension. But the Leobor hearing that he had, it's such a disservice to Officer Lugo for the media to not fully go into, and I get the why. I get the why, because on the other side of the equation, as many of you know, they're all fearful of Black Lives Matter. Let's see. Raise your hand if you're not afraid of Black Lives Matter. One hand goes up. The falsehoods that they're allowed to put forward, even though there's been a decision, even though there's been court decisions, and BLM and their ilk, they're still allowed to put out different falsehoods. But I'm going to walk you through it just a little bit. Brian Walsh was also in court today. We haven't seen him in a while. Boy, he's losing weight. Prison diet's working out for Fathead. But the Coesit Inn is the sponsor at DePetro.com. 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Folks, now call them. Reservations for Mother's Day. You're going to love it. Always a good meal. I love going there. And they also do Grubhub, DoorDash. A lot of people have now takeout. It's at the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick. So, and I mentioned, I'm going to get to the Brian Walsh story in just a moment. And this feud that's going on right now between the Attorney General and the Governor, it's really extraordinary what's taking place right now. And I'm going to disagree with, every Monday we have on Justin Katz. We'll talk to him again next Monday, politics this week. He and I disagree. He sent kind of a, I'll let him defend it, but he sent a tweet at the Attorney General where he's frowning on that the Attorney General, Peter Nerone, is very active on Twitter right now. And I think it's a good thing. And I think it's a stark contrast to Governor McKee, who is in the bunker. So I like it. I like public officials who are, regardless, I get that he's the state's chief top law enforcement official, but I like officials that he is, you can't be more out there than he's out there. We're going to have him on next week, I think, very, very soon. But he did the Newsmakers. He's doing, I know he was doing something with Channel 10. And then he was also with the Boston Globe. Attorney General Peter Nerone, it should not be lost on people that is a stark contrast to the actions and behavior of said governor, which is Rhode Island Governor Dan McGreed, who already, he's the only one still raising the flag for Biden. But if you log on to DePetro.com, the Leobor decision that has come out regarding Officer John Lugo. And you're going to see photos, once again, folks, right? The stuff that the rest of the media doesn't want to show you. And the Leobor decision, is right there, especially, now, I didn't post the whole thing. I could. It's 56 pages, though. So I took what I considered to be some of the highlights. So it's City of Providence versus Providence Police Officer John Lugo. This is the Law Enforcement Officers Bill of Rights panel, known as LEBOR. They use the initials. And on the panel were Major Todd Padalano, Cranston Police Department Major, Commander Kevin Lanny, who's now number 2 in Providence, had been Oscar Perez, but then he got bumped up to chief, and Sergeant Robert Boehm, who was the selection of Officer Lugo. And, they walk through, and I'll just give you the highlights, because what you need to know is right now, Black Lives Matter and some of these other individuals, Officer Lugo, this was a whirlwind. I was there. It was last June. The Supreme Court came out the decision, Roe v. Wade. They had a very violent protest at the Rhode Island State House, and there was an altercation. Officer Lugo was there, granted off duty, and he basically was trying to come to someone's aid and break up a fight, or at least come to the aid of someone who was being attacked. And then there's Jennifer Rourke, and there's, as many of you know, there's a radio connection, right? Pork Boy's producer, and again, I know him and I see him around. Bill Bartholomew, nice guy. But I still think there's a lot of questions. I noticed they were pretty silent about this whole decision. But what he did, and I have no idea if the station signed off on it or the company did or did not, but he took what was a long video and slowed it down. And when he made it slow, it put it in slow motion of 5 seconds with no context, and it made it seem, and he put that Officer Lugo was punching his political opponent, Jennifer Rourke, and you see a woman of color, and there was no before, there was no after, there was no context to it. That video, and then the media jumped all over it. And then that Monday, Stephen Perry, the public safety commissioner, because it happened on a Friday night, and then that Monday, the chief of police, Hugh Clements, they stepped forward with then Mayor Elorza and said they wanted to fire the guy. So, okay, but then in November, Lugo was acquitted at trial for what happened. Law enforcement has never seriously gone after the person who started the fight, which was this guy in a green Adidas jacket. Again, I have all of this on DePetro.com. We've been so far ahead of this. Rhode Island State Police waited 2 weeks before they put out a photo of that guy. Now, we heard he was either the boyfriend of someone who was involved or a brother of someone involved. No one was questioned with that. But with this Leobor hearing, and I have all of this on the website. You can see it. No one else is publishing this for whatever reason. And I want to be really clear, folks. I don't like when people tell me how to do, meaning other members of the media. So I don't tell them how to do it. But I believe, transparency. You're adults. You have a right to see it. There it is. They do a very good job laying out. There's Jennifer Rourke, her pink fingernails, painted fingernails, actually white, I think, so they really stand out. And she denied she grabbed his shirt. You see her grabbing his shirt. She is pulling him from behind. She had denied that. You have all of her testimony that was all proven false. Should she be charged with, because she was giving sworn statements under oath, should she be charged with perjury? She could be. We know how that's not going to work, right? Of course they're not going to charge her. But he was acquitted. His attorney did a fantastic job, and he was acquitted where in court on that case, going back to, that was back in November. So this was the hearing on whether or not he could keep his job. And you can, I'm not going to bore you, you can read all of her statements saying he was doing this, he was doing that. She said, I was pushed into him. You see, no one was pushing her. She said, I was just like defending my life. That wasn't true, but I posted, and you go into, now this was the hearing. See, there's, as many of you know, there's a big difference between someone makes a statement and then, okay, let's get everybody under oath. So once everybody gets under oath, and Jennifer Rourke has gone very, very quiet through the, since this even came out. But you can see that right there, the decision that came out. And this was all based on the facts, the aftermath. Providence Police never should have terminated or said they wanted to terminate him. They were really, and I hate to say that, but they were. The commissioner, he even admits video footage by WPRO, key piece of evidence that the city proceeded with the termination. I mean, right there, it's going to be up to Lugo what he wants to do about that. But it's right in the report. Public Safety Commissioner Perry basically made his decision off of that Pork Boy producer Bill Bartholomew edited 5-second video. Now, you could easily argue that Perry should not have made his decision that way. No question. So, but I want to just get to like the real, and again, you can see so much of this. I don't want to be redundant here, but he was acquitted on the criminal charge, meaning Officer Lugo. And then you come down to some of the findings of the panel. And this is the part that I find most significant, was that Jennifer Rourke, who is a member of the Co-op Collaborative, repeatedly testified she did not grab Lugo and refused to acknowledge it occurred when it's clear she grabbed him. So she testified. Now that would be perjury. She testified repeatedly that she did not grab him. And then it's very clear with the video that she did grab him. This was proven in several key pieces of evidence, including the judge's decision, where he stated Rourke pulled Lugo back. This is from video footage, still photos, testimony. Jennifer Rourke testified she never restricted his movements. That was also not true. This was proven in several key pieces of evidence to include the judge's decision. He stated Rourke is seen forcibly pulling Lugo, throwing him off balance. And then the troopers detailed state police report, video footage, still photos, testimony. There's no one behind her prior to her grabbing of Lugo. Number 3, Jennifer Rourke testified she was pushed from behind into Lugo, which was not true. Again, this was proven several key pieces of evidence to include in the judge's decision. No one behind her prior to the grabbing of Lugo. Number 4, Rourke stated she was punched with closed fists, which is not true. This was proven several key pieces of evidence to include the judge's decision, where he said Rourke is hit with an open hand. Video footage, still photo, testimony. Number 5, Rourke testified she never hit or slapped Lugo, which is not true. This was proven in several key pieces of evidence, including the judge's decision. Rourke testified that after Lugo struck her, he ran away, which was not true. There's another definitive untrue statement. Lugo is clearly seen dazed, slowly walking away in the video footage. The Rhode Island State Police were clearing the area. So they go through all of this, but some of the things that are certainly pertinent is that they feel, now again, this is going to the Leobor panel, where they question the credibility of Jennifer Rourke. And maybe that's why one of the reasons she's not really saying a lot right now. So again, you can read it all, the Leobor decision, when this thing finally got unpacked and they broke it down, it was not the way it was presented. And, you know, I watched that Friday night, and it really kicked off when that video was posted, and it turned into a lynch mob at the hand of someone who was, you know, a Providence police officer, who was also running for office. They were trying to destroy his life, and they're still trying that way. But this is a problem when some of the people pushing this narrative, they don't care about the facts, right? They care more about their narrative and the narrative they wanted. And a great job, by the way, by Dan Griffin, Lugo's attorney. But, okay, they go in front of an independent panel, and some of the people involved still keep claiming he punched her, he didn't punch her. Still claim, you know, where's her accountability? Where's her responsibility? The whole thing, you know, it's a shame. And I feel bad for Officer Lugo, because I think and believe in hindsight, if he had to do things over again. He was the last person I saw that night as I was leaving. I couldn't listen to them anymore. And I had no idea that was going to break out that way, or I would have stayed. But they were droning on. It was so insulting. And you can only listen to it for so long. And then he was the last person. I saw him as I was walking out. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, and it's brought to you by Falcon Pest Services. Now listen, over the next several months, maybe you already have them, some unwanted guests in your home or business, Falcon Pest Services. Serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts, pest control services for termites, bed bugs, ants, roaches, mice, rats, mosquitoes, many other pests. Falcon Pest Services. You need the exterminator. You need the Terminator. Think of the Falcon swooping in. Multifamily housing condos, apartments, single-family homes, schools, office buildings, restaurants. Falcon Pest Services. Call them today. Maybe it's once a year. Maybe it's once a quarter. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's once a week. Call them. Let's get rid of these things. 401-739-1322. Do you have a termite problem? Do you have an ant problem? Do you have a pest problem? Falcon Pest Services. John and Kelly, 401-739-1322. Look for them on Facebook. And then their website is falconpestservice.com. Well, folks, at 1224, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. The Leobor, I didn't post all of it. I could link all 56 pages, but I took some of the highlights, I think some of the pertinent highlights. And I'm not going to, if you want to read it, I did post it. I did not see any other media posting this. And I think the new mayor, the mayor of Providence, would like this to go away. I'm sure the new police chief in Providence would like this to go away. Commissioner Perry, he and Chief of Police Clemens, the way they kind of a knee-jerk reaction to this, most of the time you ask for, let's wait, let's take a breath here, see how this is broken down. A good example of that, I thought, was the Jamal Gonzalez situation, right? That was October of 2020. And the word on the street was, and they were people perpetrating this lie, was that a Providence police cruiser crashed into him, sent him flying into a wall, and then, people were almost announcing that he had lost his life. Now, then when they broke it down and they asked everyone to wait, they found that was not the case. But in the Lugo situation, suddenly it was off with his head. Who cares? What investigation? So I think this is one of those situations, and also you're going to hear our legal expert, Attorney Tim Dodd, break it down next hour. But I think this is one of those situations that in the end, when the facts came in, right, and it wasn't an emotional decision, dealing in facts, it's a completely different outcome from what some of the individuals had been perpetrating. And I think it's interesting that some of the people that were way out on this story, late June into July, have suddenly evaporated. So very, very quiet on that. I think that's interesting. I think we know why. But Officer Lugo, I think this is one of those situations. Now, this is the ultimate, like, where do I go to get my reputation back? They were ready to, crucify the guy. And proven to be false. That's not what happened. And then, I don't know this Jennifer Rourke. I know she lost in a primary. She's a member of that co-op collaborative. She's been very quiet on this. But many of her statements that were said in different settings did not hold up. And then if there are people that disagree, they can go through the report and then they can pick apart which parts of this they either, if they are saying, no, everything she said was true, then they are welcome to revisit that and show everyone where they think it was true. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, I want to appeal to anyone that is thinking about, maybe you finally reached the point you want to get rid of that target, that stubborn fat. Today is the day. Make today the day. Contact Sandra, Unique Health. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. You can call, schedule a free seminar right on this Thursday. Have you finally had it? Have you finally said, you know what? I want to lose 30 pounds. I want to lose 40 pounds or higher. This isn't a diet change. It's a lifestyle change. Call Sandra, 401-269-9155. They'll offer a free seminar, sustainable weight loss, extreme weight loss, 20 pounds in 10 days. 20 pounds in 10 days. Unique Health, detox program, benefits of clean eating, habit building. Their clients have had tremendous success. If you want to continue to carry that extra weight, that's on you. It's your decision. You're deciding to be 30 pounds overweight. You're deciding to be 40 pounds overweight. Think how it would change your life if you drop 50 pounds. You're also going to see an increase in metabolism and energy. So many people say people that have extra weight, what does it mean? It means they're not comfortable going out, their clothes don't fit, they don't want to go to a gym. It makes them more tired. They're dragging around all this extra weight. It's not good for you, for your health. Unique Health. Contact Sandra. Change your life for the better. 401-269-9155. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram. Now, Brian Walsh. We started the year with him. He's back in the news. He was in court this morning. I want to thank Felicia. I'm actually just looking at this headline. Rhode Island House expected to pass Equity in Abortion Coverage Act. This is an example. I'm not going to go on and on about it. But this is an example of where the state is just completely the priorities of the state just don't match up. And the way that they try to frame that, and the way that Governor McKee tries to frame this whole argument, that somehow you, taxpayers, have to pay for various people that want to use it as a form of birth control. And you have to pay for that. So what about someone that because they're obese, they develop diabetes? What about someone that because of various things they have back problems? Do you have to pay that? Do we have to pay that? Why on earth? The way they frame this whole thing is ludicrous. So I want to play a little bit. Brian Walsh pled not guilty to all charges. A PI was hired by his mother to investigate her since Brian suspected she was having an affair. Anna Walsh told a friend in D.C. she intended to leave Brian and relocate with the children to D.C. So there is sound of this. He's not as disheveled. He definitely looks like a little more normal in court. But I want to play some of the sound of this. This was this morning. Now, this is not the trial. This is all just murder arraignment. But let's hear some of the latest now.
Good morning, Ms. Minor.
Of Brian
Good morning, Mr.
Walsh.
Walsh.
Good morning. Your Honor, may I proceed?
Please.
Are you ready for arraignment, counsel?
I'm sorry.
Are you ready for arraignment?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Walsh, 23 to CR 91001, Brian Walsh of Cohasset in the County of Norfolk on or about January 1st, 2023 at Cohasset in the County of Norfolk did assault and beat Anna Walsh with intent to murder her. And by such assault and beating did kill and murder said Anna Walsh in violation of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 265, Section 1. Against the peace of said Commonwealth and contrary to the form of the statute, in such case may be provided a true bill signed by the foreman of the grand jury and the Assistant District Attorney for the Norfolk District. To this indictment for first-degree murder, sir, how do you wish to plead, guilty or not guilty? Not guilty. Thank you. Counsel, does your client waive the right to a full reading to these other two indictments?
Yes.
Thank you. One count of misleading a police officer and one count of conveying a human body. How do you wish to plead, sir, guilty or not guilty? Not guilty. Thank you. You can have a seat. Question of bail. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Connor.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Commonwealth would ask that the defendant be held without bail as a result of being charged with 265, Section 1. Your Honor, if I may go into the allegations the Commonwealth has against the defendant and then go into my argument. Thank you.
Please do.
Your Honor, on January 4th, that morning, the defendant, Brian Walsh, first reported to his wife's employer in Washington, D.C., that his wife, Anna Walsh, had been missing since January 1st at approximately 6 a.m. He had reported that she had told him that she was leaving town for a work emergency and was flying out of Logan, and that she would be returning back to Washington and was looking to find her at her employment. Commonwealth has established that this was a lie. By this time that he had killed her, dismembered her, and disposed of her body.
God.
In early of 2022, Ms. Walsh had obtained employment at Tishman Speyer in Washington, D.C. As a result of that, Tishman Speyer had asked her to move to D.C. and work out of Washington, D.C. It is a national property management company, Your Honor. Ms. Walsh and Mr. Walsh sold the family home that was in Cohasset and purchased a residence in Washington, D.C. Mr. Walsh was unable to leave the state at that time because he was on pretrial conditions out of the federal district court. They rented another home on Chief Justice Cushing Highway in Cohasset, and Miss Walsh would commute from the property that they own in D.C., working in D.C. during the week and being with the family on the weekends. In December of 2022, it had become evident that Mr. Walsh was suspecting his wife of having an affair. He was routinely visiting the Instagram page of one of her male friends, and on December 26th, his mother, with his input and direction, obtained and hired a private investigator to surveil Anna Walsh in Washington, D.C.
Whoa.
On December 27th, the oldest son's iPad was used to research best states to get divorced in and worst states to get divorced in. On December 28th, Anna Walsh had dinner with a friend in Washington, D.C., and became uncharacteristically upset and told her friend that she believed that Mr. Walsh was going to be incarcerated as a result of his federal case, and that she was prepared to leave him and take the children to Washington, D.C.
Good.
On December 30th, she flew home and was with the family and expected not to return until January 3rd, and was going to spend the long weekend with the family. On the 31st, she attended an exercise class. She also got her nails done at a local salon and had made arrangements for a family friend, her former employer, to come over their home on Chief Justice Cushing Highway for a dinner to celebrate New Year's Eve. That family friend said he got there approximately 8 p.m. and that the children were asleep and that Mr. Walsh cooked dinner for the three of them. At around 10 p.m., one of their children came downstairs, socialized with the adults, and went back upstairs approximately 20 minutes later. The family friend left at approximately 1:30 a.m. on January 1st, and that is the last time someone has seen Anna Walsh alive outside of the defendant and his family. What happens is later on in the early morning hours, at approximately 4:50 a.m., the oldest child's iPad.
All right, now that is that's really good testimony of what happened this morning in the case. But folks, something that one of her friends in D.C. had told me was the element that she bought that house and was going to move those children there and finally leave that bum, Brian Walsh. So I say good for Anna, and let alone he couldn't leave the state. He was going to go into federal prison, and she had a great life in D.C. And I've had the ability over the past few months to communicate with her friends and various people that, with some of her work friends that I've communicated with, which then has allowed me to break different elements of this story. But the guy is absolutely, there's no question about it, of just exactly what his plan was. And it comes down to that. He was upset because Anna Walsh was, and good for her, was going to move those boys to D.C. And, where was he headed? He was headed to federal prison. So, the whole element. And now I am anxious to see how this is going to play out, because I think they have a very strong case against him. I think it's, the motive is definitely there with what happened. He has been denied bail, which means now he is going to, in fact, stay in prison where he belongs. But that's what it came down to. And I think, that iPad, the fact that he started researching on the son's iPad, back even during December. Let me just hear. This is the WHDH Channel 7 piece on this Brian Walsh, Anna Walsh situation.
Brandon, Brian Walsh is on his way back to jail. He is now being held without bail after a hearing here in Dedham at Superior Court. He's facing several charges after a grand jury indictment, and we heard from him as those charges were read.
To this indictment for first-degree murder, sir, how do you wish to plead, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
In addition to being accused of killing his wife, Anna, Brian Walsh is also charged with misleading a police investigation and the improper moving of a human body. He also pled not guilty to those charges. As the murder charge was read, though, he could be seen shaking his head side to side. Walsh was brought into court today handcuffed with chains around his waist and ankles.
Good.
He appears to have lost weight but showed no emotion. In court, prosecutors laid out a detailed timeline of events, starting before Anna's disappearance on New Year's Day. They now say Walsh believed his wife was having an affair and helped hire a private investigator to follow her about a week before she went missing. Then prosecutors went through the events.
On January 4th, that morning, the defendant, Brian Walsh, first reported to his wife's employer in Washington, D.C., that his wife, Anna Walsh, had been missing since January 1st at approximately 6 a.m. He had reported that she had told him that she was leaving town for work emergency and was flying out of Logan, and that she would be returning back to Washington and was looking to find her at her employment. Commonwealth has established that this was a lie. By this time that he had killed her, dismembered her, and disposed of her body.
Terrible.
To this day, Anna Walsh, a mother of three from Cohasset, has not been found. Prosecutors say Brian Walsh made a number of troubling Google searches after Anna was last seen, including how to dispose of a dead body. Investigators searched several places, including a trash facility site in Peabody. They also say Walsh was seen dumping items in a dumpster in Swampscott. In it, they found a hazmat-like suit that had red-brown stains, and Anna's DNA was a present contributor. The defense argued the evidence was not conclusive and reiterated Anna's body has not been found. She also says Walsh never learned about an affair until after her disappearance.
There's no murder weapon. There's no motive. The government suggests that that Brian Walsh suspected his wife of an affair, but there's really no evidence of that. His mother did hire a private investigator shortly before New Year's that year. She told Mr. Walsh that she was doing that. He said she was crazy. Anna's a good girl, but go ahead. You'll be proved wrong. The investigator never found any evidence of an affair because they didn't actually have time to start proving anything before Anna went missing.
Prosecutors say Anna had $2.7 million worth of life insurance, and Brian was the sole beneficiary. The next hearing for Brian Walsh is scheduled for the end of August. Live in Dedham, Rob Way, 7 News.
So, folks, a lot of there. And again, good afternoon at 12:42. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Some significant things there. Look at that. He was going to receive, as you just heard, that's a large amount of money. That he would be the sole beneficiary. The other thing is, the last week of December, he was still looking at best states to divorce in. And then he slipped into gear and instead moved into sometime he decided to murder her, that's what the evidence shows. That's what he's being charged with. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show at 12:42. Now listen, I want to remind you about our friends, Lawn Doctor Rhode Island. Make them your lawn care company. Now, I'm going to give you the phone number that you can call them. 401-392-1025. 401-392-1025. But they have a great, easy to remember website, lawndoctor.com. You type in your zip code, you get a quick, easy quote. Lawn Doctor, your best lawn ever, guaranteed. Jump on board now and take part in their Premium 8 service program, crabgrass control, time-release fertilizer, professional blend of high-calcium lime, time-release fertilizer. In the summertime, they come back, time-release fertilizer, grub prevention. Then early fall, they do 3 different applications. So early spring, late spring, summer, grub prevention, early fall, late fall, Lawn Doctor. Contact them today. Your best lawn ever, guaranteed. 401-392-1025. So with Brian Walsh, now the next time he's going to be in court is August. I think it's remarkable. He is considerably thinner than we last saw him. But when you think about it, he's been locked up since January. So, February, March, April. He's been locked up 3 months now. Prison food is overrated, to say the least. But I don't know that. I'm just told that by various people. But that's pretty dramatic. That was dramatic with him being in court, charged in death of wife, and now, suspected she's having an affair. The mother hires the private investigator. That's what prosecutors allege. So what you really have here is motive. What you really have here is motive and also the money motive. He would have been the sole beneficiary. He planned on collecting $2.7 million in life insurance purchased by his wife, Anna Walsh. I think he even looked up how soon before you can start to collect, and you have to have the body to collect. Brian Walsh, sole beneficiary, $2.7 million life insurance purchased by the wife, whom he suspected having an affair with a coworker before he allegedly killed her, dismembered the body. And so that all came out this morning. Now, I have communicated with, I think, the person that he suspected of that. He is a very successful individual. We've communicated on different occasions. He has young children. He had told me in the past she was so excited for her new life in D.C. They set up the townhouse that she bought in Washington, in the Chevy Chase section of D.C. that decorating the kids' rooms, and that was her plan. He was going to be headed to federal prison. I think it's interesting that then they were going on her Instagram account, because she would post quite a bit on Instagram. And this whole business, 7 days after he murdered her, they found the dumpster. That's where they found the COVID vaccination card, watch, hunter boots, Prada purse, short black coat, her clothing, DNA and all of it. January 1st, Brian Walsh told the babysitter that his wife had to rush to D.C. for an emergency, but did not contact her coworkers till January 4th. So that's what he told the babysitter January 1st. Instead, it was the coworkers who contacted the police after they couldn't locate her. So he did not contact her coworkers till January 4th and never contacted law enforcement. In a series of purchases from the stores, he obtained 5-gallon buckets, hacksaw, 48 terry cloth towels, framing hammer, full coverage suit, shoe coverings, mop, 200 disposable rags, trash bags, Murphy oil soap, other cleaning products. He purchased 13 bottles of hydrogen peroxide, 3 64-ounce jugs of pneumonia, 3 area rugs, scented candles, hatchet, plastic sheeting, and 24 pounds of baking soda. In earlier proceedings, prosecutors allege he used his son's iPad to Google how long before a body starts to smell and how to stop a body from decomposing. Among other online searches Walsh allegedly made were how to embalm a body, 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to. And those searches occurred between 4:55 a.m. and 5:47 on January 1st. He also searched for hacksaw, best tool to dismember, and can you be charged with murder without a body. So that very significant day with Brian Walsh in court. Well, folks, at 12:47, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. This portion of our program. Now listen, if there's something wrong with your car, you take it to a mechanic. If you're not feeling well, most normal people would contact a doctor. For your finances, I'm offering you an opportunity to sit down with a financial expert, our guy, Tommy Bryan, Ameriprise Financial. For over 125 years, they've provided services, clients' unique goals. Millions of Americans retire in their terms. Call today, 401-434-1510. 401-434-1510. Tom Bryan, Ameriprise Financial. Office is located 400 Massasoit Avenue in East Providence. Folks, whether it is retirement questions, whether it's college savings, net worth review, major purchase planning. Why not sit down with an expert? Maybe you're thinking of getting into crypto or gold. Sit down, or long-term care coverage for a loved one. Tom Bryan, Ameriprise Financial. Folks, free consultation, 401 434 1510, 401 434 1510. Free consultation. Our guy, Tom Bryan, Ameriprise Financial. Well, folks, at 12:49, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, hey, how about Jerry Springer has died? The man who transformed TV. That's right. And I think you just heard that actually in the 12 o'clock news. 79 years old. Completely, it's true. He transformed television. One of the most famous ever talk shows. It did. Screened 27 years, 4,000 episodes. Started the whole thing, full-on fistfights. Jerry Springer introduced a form of television without question that it just rocketed. And then there were obviously a lot of copycats and so forth. But he did. He carved out a niche for his television show. Now, the Tucker Carlson, he did do a quick video. We'll see exactly what happens with that, vowing to return. I don't know how long that's going to take or how long he's going to be. I think he has to hammer things out with Fox yet, and I don't believe that has happened. I'm just looking at some of the headlines. Fire sale. There's a $300 million San Francisco office tower, mostly empty, opened offers. Hey, that's the equivalent of like the Superman building, right? It doesn't just happen here. It happens in other places as well. Is Trump the inevitable? I know he's having a rally in New Hampshire. Republicans are starting to wonder. I still say it's all going to come down to the debates and how he's going to handle himself during the debates, which will come. But now he has said that he may not even take part in the debate. So I think that hurts some of the candidates that were hoping that they were going to gain some ground on the Trump campaign during the course of the debate. But I'm going to repeat what I have said, folks. The Republicans, some of the Republicans, or all of them really, that are planning on running against him, what they underestimate is it's the equivalent of running against an incumbent. President Biden will not have really a challenger. He won't have to do any debates. He's not going to debate that Marianne Williamson. And now President Trump, I mean, unless at some point, now we're in April, let's see in May or June or July, at some point, if the sand does not start to shift, maybe it starts with the first debate. Maybe it doesn't do the first debate. I don't know. Nikki Haley, Biden will die within 5 years. All right, so she wants to get some attention. You know, it is interesting. Nikki Haley, yes, she announced for president, and she is in single digits. The only two candidates, Republicans, that have any form of numbers are Governor DeSantis and President Trump. And DeSantis, I think he is that Disney suit. I know a lot of people are cheering him on for going after Disney, but they're not exactly they're not exactly just going to go quietly, right? Disney can hire some top attorneys, and they're going to challenge the attorneys that Governor DeSantis has. So I think they're going to. I just think that's not going to go away for him, and I think it's a distracting issue. I know he definitely gained some attention. He definitely gained some donations and made a name for himself nationally, Governor DeSantis, by going after Disney and the whole woke thing. But they're a media giant, and they're a force, and they are the gold standard in entertainment. They have, you're not going to bankrupt them. They have plenty of money. They employ 75,000 people in Florida. Think of that. 75,000 Disney workers in Florida, and 50 million people visit Florida because of Disney. They're not going to go quietly, and I think, you start to get distracted if he's dealing with them in a legal battle. So he's having a little bit of, I would say, a rough go. He hasn't announced yet, but I think the DeSantis campaign, there's a reason not everyone's flocking to him. Not everyone's flocking to him. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by Limitless Outdoors. Good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Why not enjoy the property that you have? Some people want to do an add-on, or you could call Limitless Outdoors, 401 580 1852. 401 580 1852. Limitless Outdoors. It starts with a discussion how you want to use your outdoor space. They can design your outdoor space to fit your aesthetic and lifestyle. They specialize in patios, walkways, steps, outdoor kitchens. Maybe you'd like to have a full outside room that you could enjoy. Landscape lighting, retaining walls, lawn installations, excavation. They can update your indoor fireplace. Limitless Outdoors. How about a fire pit? Or how about a fireplace and oven that you're grilling outside? Remember their slogan, dream, build, enjoy. Because it is limitless. Limitless Outdoors. 401 580 1852. Get a free quote, 401 580 1852. They're based right in North Smithfield. It's Limitless Outdoors. Well, folks, good afternoon. It's 12:55. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, we will be doing Cranston PD Live tomorrow night. If you want to read the latest on that Providence police officer, the Leah Board decision, I have some of it, not all of it, some of the highlights posted on the website, depetro.com. I'm looking at some other headlines tonight. Of course, the NFL draft, football again starts to take over, even though the Celtics getting a lot of attention right now. How about the Miami Heat eliminated the Bucks? That is amazing. State still working on plan for when Armory homeless shelter closes. That is ludicrous. That is like, what are they doing? Why are they still? That is a failure. That should, the city, they need that. Let a developer take over the Armory and develop it in for whatever. The city should just sell that piece of property. It's ridiculous that the city of Providence tries to hold on to it. Let someone go in, and maybe they're going to develop and make a profit, since there's nothing wrong with profit, and maybe someone buys it and they make a fortune in low-income apartments, or maybe condo, or whatever. But there's no reason for it. Folks, I was discussing, and again, good afternoon, everyone, at 12:57. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I was mentioning, if Rhode Island wanted to, we are so government heavy. One of the reasons they can't cut the sales tax is they need it to support all the jobs of the people that work for the state. But they're not needed, really, for the state. So you could realistically cut the state workforce almost in half. You wouldn't skip a beat. Now, granted, then those people would need jobs, but that's where then you would need a private sector company to come in or more and hire people. But so much of this, it reminds me of with the tolls they had on the Mass Pike, or still have, and they did a study and found that what the tolls on the Mass Pike basically pay for are the salaries of the people that collect the tolls on the Mass Pike. And Rhode Island operates that way. We're so government top heavy. You don't need all of that. There's just way too much. But the problem is the people that are in charge right now and running the show, they're not going to in any way slice it. The only thing would be some kind of a downturn and then some kind of a recession. And as it seemed it was maybe going to go in that direction, COVID came, and then the COVID money, as we all know, was flying everywhere. and Governor McKee was the worst person to have in charge during the time of COVID. But there's so much government, state wasted spending. $30 million a year in overtime for the correctional officers at the ACI. $30 million in overtime. I'm not talking salaries. Overtime costs. Total mismanagement, total fiasco. But they have a strong union, and they lobbied the governor, and they get his endorsement, or they give him an endorsement, and then they allows it. All right, at 12:59, we're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. Legal expert, attorney Tim Dodd, you can hear my conversation with him coming up next hour. Big news of the day is that Jerry Springer has died, and I'm not laughing at that. And also Brian Walsh was in court this morning. More details on the Brian Walsh, Anna Walsh case. Folks, it's John DePetro. We're going to be doing Facebook Live later, but another hour to go. Stay tuned for the 1 o'clock news.